It's Saturday, December 29th, 2018. We're at the Forum in Los Angeles for UFC 232. There are 11 fights on the card, including the Women's Featherweight Championship bout between two all-time great UFC fighters, Amanda Nunes and Cris Cyborg. Going into the fight, Nunes was the clear underdog. She was moving up in weight class, and Cyborg was an unstoppable, undefeated fighter. The gloves touch. After trading a few glancing blows, Cyborg lands a right and pushes in. It's starting to look like Nunes is overmatched. Then Nunes connects with a perfect right hand. Cyborg takes it on the chin and bounces back up, only to meet another devastating right hand from Nunes, and then another, and another. At 51 seconds, the fight is called. Amanda Nunes is the UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. This is her 17th UFC win, and it makes her the first woman to hold a title in two separate weight classes. But there's much more to her story than this 51-second knockout or a long list of victories or championships, because Amanda Nunes is more than a number. Before we dig into Nunes' history, it's worth taking a look at the history of mixed martial art competitions, specifically the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Originally designed as a war of the worlds, the UFC was meant to pit fighters from different martial arts disciplines against one another in an 8-fighter bracket-style competition. No weight classes and no holds barred. It was wild.
Just no groin shots, no eye gouges, and no biting. Everything else is okay.
Here's the first UFC fight ever between a 6.5-foot tall Dutch karate master and a 400-pound Hawaiian sumo wrestler. It was a sloppy, one-sided mess of a fight, ending in only 26 seconds with a bloody TKO. But the memorable performance of the night belonged to this man, Royce Gracie. The smallest fighter on the card, he was the son of Helio Gracie, who originally developed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the early 20th century. And Royce was a master of the craft himself. First, he took down a bizarrely one-gloved boxer who landed exactly 0 punches. Then, a professional wrestler fell to Gracie's grappling styles.
There's the tap.
And finally, the Dutch karate master.
See again, hands underneath.
Joke, it's over.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu reigned supreme. This was the world and the culture of fighting that Amanda Nunes was born into. Nunes started her martial arts fighting career in amateur Brazilian mixed martial arts competitions. After 5 straight wins had taken place in Brazil, it was time for Nunes to take the next step. It was 2011, and UFC wasn't the only name in mixed martial arts. Their biggest competitor was a former kickboxing turned MMA league called Strikeforce, and they knew how to draw a crowd. Strikeforce was a big name, with big prizes and a big fan base. It would be a huge step up for Nunes. The devastating right hand that won Nunes her previous 5 matches showed up again, giving her the TKO in a mere 14 seconds. And honestly, the fight could have been called a few seconds earlier. Around the time of her move to the Ultimate Fighting Championship, Nunes dropped 10 pounds to the bantamweight class, a move that might have affected her conditioning. With a new weight class and a stronger pool of opponents, the question was, could Nunes keep her dominant run of TKOs? Nunes' opponent was Kat Zingano, who had long been in contention to make a challenge for the UFC bantamweight belt. The chatter at the time was, if Zingano wins, she'd get a shot at Ronda Rousey, the current champ. In the first round, Nunes led with her trademark early fight aggression, getting Zingano on the ground and landing strike after strike. But Zingano turned the tables, and as the match wore on, Nunes ran out of steam. A minute into the 3rd round, the fight was over. That left Amanda Nunes with 3 losses in 6 fights. She needed help, and it would come from an unlikely place. Nunes first met Nina Ansaroff in a practice gym, and to hear her tell it, their first meeting was a little rough around the edges. Ansaroff was there to help train other fighters, but Nunes was not interested. My first sparring with Nina was really aggressive because of my ego. A new girl in my gym? I was the only girl training at MMA Masters. I'm the lioness, there can't be any other girls here. It was really aggressive. I was trying to hurt her. But Ansaroff wasn't scared, and she didn't back down. They became training partners, and then they fell in love. It was Ansaroff who saw Nunes pushing herself too hard, dedicated to a life exclusively in the gym. She got Nunes into swimming, meditating, and reading for pleasure, anything to give Nunes' mind and body a break. And it worked. In less than a year, Nunes logged 3 dominating wins, all lengthy fights that challenged her physically. Her stamina was up, her mental game was strong, and she finally had a shot at the belt. At the time, the UFC bantamweight belt was held by Miesha Tate. She was a grappler by nature, a former college wrestler turned MMA fighter nicknamed Takedown. The fight started slow, both fighters testing their opponent's range and strategy. Then, Nunes overextended on a right jab and Tate went in for a takedown, getting Nunes on the mat. But just as fast, Nunes escaped. And it was her turn to flash her signature strike. A series of perfectly timed right hands from Nunes changed the course of the fight almost instantly, leaving Tate bloodied, dazed, and in serious trouble. Moments later, Nunes had Tate on the ground and it was all over. Amanda Nunes was a champion. In the post-match interview, there was one person on her mind. Nina.
Can you just talk a little bit about what having the support of your partner, Nina, has meant to you in your career?
She helped me everything. Like, she's gonna cry answer. And I love her, you know.
Amanda Nunes was the first out LGBTQ champion in mixed martial arts history, a feat that hasn't been repeated since by any other out fighter of any gender. After a lightning-fast defense of her bantamweight title against all-time great Ronda Rousey and 2 more dominant wins, Nunes made the decision to go up in weight class. No one in women's UFC history had held belts in 2 different weight classes. And to make history, Amanda Nunes was going to have to go through the best featherweight fighter in the history of women's MMA, Cris Cyborg. She was the UFC featherweight champion with 21 straight wins and a fighting style that balanced speed, power, and technical ability. She was virtually unstoppable, which is why going into UFC 232, Amanda Nunes was the underdog. The Vegas lines had Nunes as plus 210. She may be a champion, but against Cyborg? The unstoppable machine who had 10 pounds on Nunes and matched up stylistically to perfectly counter Nunes? But none of that matters once you enter the Octagon. After 15 seconds of testing the waters, Nunes flicked a left jab and missed on an overhand right. Cyborg countered with a left that connected and a right. Then Nunes connected with a right hand to the face, a punch that would normally end a fight for Nunes. Its perfect snap and its incredible power nearly unmatched in all of mixed martial arts. Nunes strikes, and the seemingly unstoppable Cyborg finally yields and crashes to the mat. The fight is waived at the 51-second mark. Amanda Nunes has made history. Nunes' combined bantamweight and featherweight title reigns are the longest in UFC history, men or women. But she's also found success outside of the ring. In August of 2020, Amanda and Nina Nunes would welcome to the world their first child, a daughter named Reagan. Nunes has been down many times in her life, but with Nina at her side and the strength to get back up, Amanda Nunes has become one of the greatest fighters in the history of MMA, and she has shown that she is so much more than a number.